Were there an eighth wonder of the world, it would not be in the annals of history, about something that may have been thousands of years ago in arid nations that no longer exist. It would be on the open sea, today, tangible and practical. One could wonder if it were a man-made island drilling into the crust. It could be a floating palace providing an exotic escape, though maybe we're not looking deep enough. What if the answer is literally beneath the question? Is the eighth wonder not the marvel, but the pedestal on which it rides? Enter a behemoth that rides on and below the sea, the greatest hauler in human history. She looks less like a boat and more like an outlandish floating fortress, like the Nostromo from Alien, with an unconventional, albeit effective design. She can scoop up even the loftiest of objects and transport them to limitless destinations. For over a decade, she's been Johnny on the spot for oil rig transport, ship retirement, dry docking, and emergency assistance. She is the BOKA Vanguard, the preeminent submersible heavy-lift ship. The Vanguard is unmistakable, sporting a bridge and living area superstructure on the far starboard side and a flat, bowless deck measuring 275 meters long and 70 meters wide, allowing for the passage of cargo that can be either longer or wider. Likewise, she can carry cargo exceeding her own considerable tonnage. While she weighs 91,700 tons, she could sustain up to 116,000 tons. She's 8% larger than the second largest heavy lift ship, the Xinguanhua, and 70% larger than the third, the Blue Marlin. Her most remarkable engineering feat is arguably her method for loading and unloading. First, there's the laying of planks used for relocation called cribbing wood in an array pattern across the deck. Douglas fir and southern pine are considered the optimal choice. The deck then submerges, containing 4 buoyancy casings. The deck may be lowered to a depth of nearly 9 fathoms. Thanks to her engineering, the ship remains watertight. No damage is sustained. Cargo is floated over the submerged deck. The buoyancy casings serve as markers for this process. Deballasting begins. The deck surfaces, raising the cargo atop it. The installation of sea fastenings takes place. This is long and laborious, typically taking multiple days. Yet, it assures a safe journey for both the Vanguard and her cargo. Finally, transportation. She's powered by 4 engines, including 2 35,400 horsepower Wärtsilä engines that carry her up to the speed of 12 knots. 1 auxiliary engine is present in case of emergencies. Though this power is intimidating, her voyages are arduous, typically taking between 1 and 2 months. Therefore, her arrival is frequently celebrated as an event, garnishing media attention. The Vanguard's journey of journeys began before 2011. The Dutch holding company Dockwise recognized a market for carrying so-called megastructures, such as oil rigs, to destinations. Having a single fabrication site would remove costly and time-consuming variables that had long since complicated the placement of oil rigs. Dockwise called on their employees to pitch designs for a new form of carrier to fit the market per this initiative. The design that would become the Vanguard was submitted by a 2-man team, including Dutch engineer Anthony van Ginkel and American managing business developer Gary Cyrillis. Codenamed the Type 0 Super Vessel, the project was greenlit in November 2010, with Norwegian Classification Society Det Norsk Veritas classifying her, as well as designing her in conjunction with Finnish Delta Marine and Dockwise. Hyundai Heavy Industries signed on to construct her in February 2011. The following April, Finnish Wärtsilä began developing her powerful propulsion system. In August, Norwegian Artronica began developing her fire suppression system with a local network called Autralon. Construction formally began in Mipo Bay of Ulsan, South Korea, in December 2011 and lasted until November 2012, costing $240 million. In February 2013, Samsung delivered the Vanguard to Dockwise. She set sail on her main voyage, carrying Chevron's Jack St. Malo oil rig en route to the Gulf of Mexico. The journey would take slightly less than 2 months. Early in her run, the Vanguard would be prized for her dry docking capabilities. One of her earliest tasks was to dry dock the Asta Hansteen, the largest spar platform at the time. This demonstrated the vessel's market value, as companies recognized the value of dry docking without breaking production. It proved to be highly economic and allow for expedient service. The Vanguard's reputation was further pronounced when Italian Costa Cruises, not basking in the joy of a year and a half of attention from the Costa Concordia's capsizing, announced a $30 million investment into recovering the vessel in a simplified manner. Like their unfortunate captain, Costa Cruises would not follow through and deferred to Titan Salvage for an alternative operation in 2014. Midway through the Vanguard's maiden voyage in 2013, Dockwise was acquired by Dutch dredging and heavy lifting company Boskalis. To signify a new dawn for the company, Boskalis renamed the vessel the BOKA Vanguard in April 2018. Boskalis took advantage of Vanguard's unique position by being awarded a contract to dry dock and ship the Carnival Vista to a shipyard facility near Freeport, Bahamas. The largest cruise in the Carnival fleet, the Vista's azipods were damaged and a conventional dry dock was not on the table due to a crane collapse in Freeport. The Vanguard transported the cruise ship and held her while repairs were made. 2020, an eventful year for many, including the Vanguard. At the end of the previous year, the Vanguard loaded the FPSO P-70 in Qingdao, China, and began transporting her around Cape Good Hope to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, weighing 91,118 tons. It was the world record for the transportation of any structure, a record broken by her transportation of 6 caissons weighing more than 93,000 tons in 2022. The crowning achievement of the P-70 would unfortunately be overshadowed by the less orthodox proclivities of some temporary employees during the voyage. As COVID was on the rise in January 2020, others found different ways to be hospitalized. As the Vanguard sailed the P-70 past Durban, South Africa, 6 shipboard contractors providing preservation services drank ethyl alcohol, commonly used in detergents. After 36 hours, they displayed extreme symptoms. 5 fell ill, while the 6th died. The Vanguard contacted South Africa's Marine Rescue Coordination Center, which dispatched 2 helicopters and the vessel Alique Rene. After landing on the P-70's helipad, medics provided immediate first aid and transported the 5 survivors to Durban. The body of the 6th man remained aboard the Vanguard to be placed in a morgue at the destination. Unsurprisingly, Belize has not jumped at the opportunity to rehire the 5 survivors. The following April, the Vanguard arrived at the Yantai shipyard in China, where she loaded up the Have Farm 1. While P-70 was the heaviest cargo, she was the largest, extending to an astonishing 385 meters. The voyage to Norway took 2 months and arrived on time, June 13th. The Vanguard rounded out her already impressive portfolio with a new achievement in July 2023, the decommissioning of a vessel at sea. The prior September, the Zaviro Producer, a floating production unit in ExxonMobil's Zaviro oil field in Equatorial Guinea, off the coast of West Africa, was disconnected in September 2022, ending 26 years of service. After securing the vessel, the Vanguard sailed to the port of Frederikshavn in Denmark, where she delivered to the Modern American Recycling Services for scrapping. The question asked by many is, should we go bigger? Yet, for Boskalis, the question was, can we go bigger? During the Offshore Technology Conference during the week of May 6, 2024, CEO Peter Berdowski announced that Boskalis was exploring a new V-class heavy marine transport, dwarfing the Vanguard in terms of length, breadth, and carrying capacity. Boskalis would conduct market evaluations with their clients to determine their needs. In the decades since the announcement of the initiative, no further announcements have been made. Boskalis' competitors have christened vessels nearly as large as the Vanguard, but in her own neighborhood and beyond, she remains the undisputed heavyweight hauling champion of the sea.